Hey guys, it's Genshiho here, and welcome to the video. I would like to talk about some changes options in smite that probably good. I want to talk about the god aspect system. Um, just get right to the point. These are just my personal opinions, and if you guys disagree, please let me know what you guys think, and take in the comments, or just simply deal me in the game. I don't mind. There are no negative comments. You gotta say it's stupid. All I care. I do care, but I'm just saying I appreciate the feedback. Um, my take on it is that we should break down the aspect system to three different types: damage, defense, and tactical. What I'm pretty much saying is each god only should have three different three different aspect types: damage, defense, and tactical, which would tactical would be balanced. What this would do, which would create a system in which, you know, they don't have to change dramatically God's kit, which is one big aspect. The player can choose how they want to play that God, and particularly in each match they play into. Let's say if they play into their rank conquest and they look at the end of the team, they say, okay, well, they got Latin, they got this, they got that. I want to probably get more of a tactical advantage on this God. Or they can choose that based off their team count, and so can the enemy team. This also steers the actual aspects towards the initial objective of which Hi-Res had. Hi-Res had the intention to allow gods to be played in any role, and you can build anything you want. That's what the whole purpose of allowing any god to build anything with intelligence. And that would kind of like heavily lean towards that particular perspective that they were trying to accomplish with the person of this night too. And there's only like 5 or 7 gods. Um, Another thing I want to talk about is the dampening and plating and tenacity system. Operating the system itself is really, really bad. It's not in a good position. Overall, um, I would say Spectral Armor and Phantom Curse, they are doing good. Not just because they got plating on it, but because of their passives and their actives. Um, Besides that, plating itself and dampening, it's just not in the position where it should be in. And the reason why I believe it's like that, from my perspective, I believe Hi-Res came to the situation scared. I think they were scared of just adding all of these stats into the items, which would cause the game to be unbalanced towards tanks being too tanky. Well, honestly, even when a tank is building maybe one, two items towards plating or dampening based on the game, or even tenacity, and they build all defense. When you build something like Titan's Bane and you build another item that has pin on it, you don't even notice that that tank has defense. Okay, you don't notice it. They don't die as quick as a squishy, like with 1 or 2 abilities, but they would typically die within 4 or 5 abilities, or if you all just collapsed on them. So I think that approach was a little bit narrow-minded. They should have just taken all of the stats like plating and all that, and they should have just added it to the base items. Such as if you were building um, defense or physical damage, why not have 5 plating onto Gladiator Shield or Berserker Shield? You get 5 plating, and then you drop low 6%, you get an additional 10. You see what I'm saying? It will balance it out. They could have just did that. They could have just added it to the base items, which would have made more valuable towards the tank to buy these items, because now they have to divide their attention between either plating or defense, and that's not good. You want to give the tank the option to say, okay, if I buy this item right here, that has a passive that will protect me, but at the same time deal damage, then I can get that. If I buy this item right here, um, that would do damage towards, enemies around me, I can buy that and also have some plating along with it. If I want to buy a support item like this, Stampede, I can get that, but at the same time, let's say if I activate it, I get 5 or 10 physical plating or whatever it would be just for activating. It's just something where it would be more valuable to the tank from using, because I agree with them. They're not that tanky, you know? You might find in one match you're fighting against Morgid or somebody, and they might say real tanky because your build's not complete. But when you get towards the end of the game, you're straightening them. You're straight shredding them. You're not even worried about them no more. I even found myself dog walking tanks with just 5 to 7 seconds, me versus them soloing. It's that easy. And that's just another topic I want to bring up. Maybe take the stats and just put it on the items and see how that works out. It won't hurt just to try it. My last topic is I've been trying to push this since I was invited to join the test server, the private test server for Smite 2 when it was first released. I've been trying to get the developers to push for those three things: aspect. Um, yes, I made a post on Discord where I suggested that they need to have a aspect type of system where you change the fundamentals of what the gods can do. It was something on the line. I even put on their YouTube videos before aspects were even released. I don't I don't mind if you guys don't believe me. I don't take credit for it. I don't care. I mean, as you can tell, I didn't make no YouTube videos in what, a year or two about this, so I don't care. I don't take credit. I just want the game to get better. Another thing I suggested was it was crazy. It was just fantasy. I wanted a fifth alternate ability where, let's say, for example, this ability has a 5 minute cooldown. Let's say you have to do a map objective, and you do the map objective, you get the unlockable ability. Let's say for Zeus, he jumps in the sky and hits, he just rains lightning across the entire map, shooting everybody. As a 5 minute cooldown. It was just a cool idea. That's it. I know it's crazy. I know it's OP, but I just threw it out there. But the last idea I came up with was the rune system. The rune system, to what I stated was, instead of getting max stars and you just keep getting stars at max level, because that system itself just puts a target in your back, and anybody that has a god they want to master, they want to play, they find themselves being harassed by the smite community, being targeted, and being attacked just because they see them stars. Smite community go, oh, all the stars, let me kill that person because that'll make me a good player. I don't know why their mentality's like that, but it is. But get back to the topic. Instead of getting stars, you can unlock a rune. Unlocking a rune will allow you to increase. I would say when you lock the rune, you get a rune. Let's say for Artemis, I get a bow. Once I use Artemis enough and do enough damage against enemy gods, that will level up the bow. And once the bow levels up into a certain level, I get a change to one of my abilities. So as is a rune, I'm thinking more of Nordic mythology. Let's say, for example, I get like with a rune system, you get a spirit. A spirit would activate on use of one of your abilities. Let's say, for example, for Artemis, let's say if I use her three. If I use her three, uh, spiritual projection will show up and then cancel her three again at 30% daily damage. So instead of being 100% or whatever it would be, it'll be just 30% of the damage you get the first time. You see what I'm saying? It's something like that. Just a cool niche to add to the game. Something not too drastic. I even suggested that what if you did something like where if you max the bow out, you get three different types of runes with each of the abilities that you have for your one, two, and three. Your one, two, and three. If you use your one, for my example, Artemis, I get an additional cooldown on the one. Let's say 2 seconds off her trap, and it's on a 10-second cooldown. So let's say if I have cooldown is at max level 5 seconds, I use it, I get additional 2 seconds. So instead of being a 5 second cooldown timer, it goes down to 3 seconds. And then I gotta wait 10 seconds for it to refresh for me to get that again. It's just an example. And for each of your abilities, you will get something like this. It's just a cool niche to reward players who are actually playing the god and maxing them out. Those are my ideas, and that's just pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. But there was one more thing I wanted to bring up. And the last thing I want to bring up is when people were asking me, ah, why don't I ward? Why do I get collapsed on while playing offense? I'm gonna show you guys why. Because it does bother me, but it's only bothering me because Pyre not fixing it. So here's the problem with Artemis right now. Most people don't notice because they don't play Artemis enough to notice it. But if you ever go to a match for Artemis,
get out of this,
and you are in Conquest, Arena, no matter what mode you're in, you would never notice this. But when you have 4 traps on the map, or not even 4, just traps on the map, and you lay down ward by your purple camp, and then one by the enemy's purple camp. You know how conquest start off. Your traps vanish.
Get out of this.
Now what you do, put them back down, they vanish. Imagine you trying to run away.
Get out of this.
Trap vanish, and it doesn't capture nobody. And the ward vanish. That's crazy.
Get out of this.
Yep, ward vanish. So it's glitched out. So Artemis, with wards is glitched out, and the reason why this is going on, as most people don't remember, but Artemis traps, if an enemy god got close to him, actually revealed the enemy on the map. It acts as a ward itself, and when they trigger the trap, it revealed their location as they were taking tick damage. It still does that, but it doesn't do the ward thing. So I think that's the reason why. I don't know why it's acting funny, but it's been like this for the last I think 2 to 3 months, and it puts me in a position where I can't build wards, and that's just for the first 2 to 7 minutes. And you know, my team doesn't like that, but there's nothing I can do about it because I just can't have 2 traps on the map as an Artemis main or playing Artemis, because that pretty much leaves me vulnerable to be collapsed on and have nothing to protect me if somebody was to come. If I wanted to trap off the lane, I can't do it because of the fact that if I do so, and I have wards now, the traps vanish. That's just everything, and that's all I'm gonna talk about. Thank you guys.